I figure I should at least mention it because the Iliad apparently is called Ilias, and I didn't know the name of the Iliad, and they say it's the poem of the Iliad. The name was called, of Troy was supposedly called Iliad, called Ilion. But I looked it up. Ilias Greek. Helios is the Greek version of the name for the prophet Elijah. It also commonly spelled Elias. Some interpretations suggest that the name Elias may resonate with the Greek word for sun, Helios, which would make sense because the Omicron is an alpha, symbolizing light and brightness in Greek. All right, so according to Sophia Sirach, Elias is like one of the top 12 prophets. Like there are 12 main prophets. Alexander the Great slept with the Iliad, the Elias. Could it be named after the writer Elias? I don't know. I haven't read the Iliad enough. Here's some variations of the word Ele, Elea, Eleon, that's a lot of them. All right, so did Jesus speak Koine Greek according to the Bible or according to the internet? Well, actually, technically, Jesus didn't actually speak the language. No one actually spoke the language they wrote in. The rule was if you're going to write down what you say, no one's literate except for these people back then. But if you did write something down, you couldn't write it down in your own language. No one wrote down anything in their own language. But at that time, was Hebrew a dead language? Well, technically it was probably a dead language, but Jesus was a rabbi. So of course he knows the dead language. He always spoke it. So he's reading in Hebrew. He can't write. No, he can't write. He's always quoting the Bible. That guy will quote like Psalms where like I would never look in Psalms. He'll quote it off the top of his head. He'll quote a million things, but I mean, technically we're not actually sure that he can read the language. I mean, see what they did was like they spoke one language and then then they learned how to read and write, but you could not learn how to read and write in your own language. So like what they did is they learned, like as you learned this other language called Koine Greek, which is actually called common language. It actually means that it's common, like everyone knows that language. Technically, like the name of the language means that everyone knows the language. But like when you learn the language that everyone knows, is the name is that everyone knows it, but no one actually knows it. That's when you learn how to read and write. But you can't read and write in your own language at all. And none of the verbs work. So, is the Iliad like written by one of the greatest prophets of? I just want to point out something to everyone reading this. So who has had this document? Like when we have this document, what are we missing? Like the table of contents. It's messed up. So, but the rest of the document's fine. But here clearly someone has tried to cover up Ikra logos. So the Quran is called the Quran. Ikra is like what is said to Muhammad. Like if there's one thing that we know, it's that someone that reads Arabic has to come around and read the Bible. It's the only way to do it. And this book was secret as it gets, and it was protected by a group of monks, I think, and they were like a secret society of monks that protected this Bible Codex Alexandrinus in I think Constantinople, Turkey, which is where the Roman Empire ended up. Like it's modern day Istanbul, Turkey. So. Someone handed off this document to the British, and it's in the British Museum's possession right now, I think. And for some reason, during this period, someone had a chance to hide the fact that that cough, the Q, what we think is a G is a Q, which is not a Q if you're an Egyptian. Because like when I tell you that zuon is the way to say zukon or zukon, Like if you want to do the cough, or zuon is how an Egyptian would say it. Like I'm telling you, like the last thing they want me to know is that the gamma is a freaking cough in Arabic. Like that's something that someone does not want me to know. And someone that does not want me to know that had this document. And all I'm saying is I really do think that like the English really did have someone that got involved. Scribble out the Ikra Logos part. He's the one that knows. Like that's Arabic. Like all I have to do is see that, and then suddenly, yoke. Oh, zuon. Oh, zuon. Yeah, because puluon kai megaloon. Emendia tu nomu kai tu ton propheton kai ton aloon ton kata atus ekalule katon ton de dominon. Like because I can prove that's the Bible. That's the. I know it's 3 a.m, but I'm still working. So, nomu, we have this word nomu, and it's the law, but we know anomia, which is the name, like, because constantly Isu is talking about nomia, 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 nomia. But according to the Bible, nomia has to do with law, but then nomia is name. But in Spanish, nombre is name. ¿Cuál es tu nombre? But even though you'd say like, you wouldn't say ¿cuál es tu nombre, but you could. Which is your name, it was what that would mean. But so nom has you can kind of see people's names hiding words in Greek like Christy, nom. Who else we got up there that's getting nominated right now? Trump. We haven't found Trump's name in the Bible. Who else has a name that has probably hidden a word from ancient Greek? Oh, Polis, Governor Polis, the governor of my state. So this would be the he form of noma, curio. So like in the name of curio is the name of the Lord. But does it? What other ways does it say it in the Bible? Like if I were to look it up, like it might say Noma Moses, like in the name of Moses, a lot of the time. But let's try to use this as law. So polo on, can make a law and great on, emendia to your nomu. So your law, emendia is your law. Kaiton propheton, like your emendia is your law and prophet. Kaiton alaon ton kat atus. Let's read it again, because you know that I'm reading it right? Because what does the Hebrew Bible sound like? It's poetry, right? This is a song by David. What does it sound like? But when I read the poetry, because I can read that, which someone decided that I'm not allowed to know that's Arabic, they erased the gamma, which is that critical to understanding everything. Because gegraptai, okay? So remember how I talked about gar has to do with reading, because kara. So remember when I say kara turns into ikra, so gar turns into gra, gegraptai. So once again, that proves ikra is the imperative of read. So, but polo on kai megalo on imediatu nom. So this book is a secret book in the Old Testament. And if there's anything we know about it after I figured out how to read it, it's that you're supposed to read it because it says ikarologos, read the word. And then also it's supposed to be read out loud. And we know that like there's something about like amen dia tu nomo. Like because it makes sense from like a language perspective. Tu nomu makes it so much easier to change the ending, because like it has like a feel to it. Because they're saying nomu is the law, but they're wrong, because Amendia is your name and ton propheton, and so like I just looked up he looked up like Psalm 23 in Hebrew, and this is a song. And they're reciting it. but there's no rhyme. There was a time when I made believe, told myself that I was free. I could be whatever I wanted to be. The truth was right in front of me, but I couldn't see. Always lost and always free. Found a way to be in need. Lose everything I own until I freeze. Find the glee. Find you and me sitting on top of thee till a Bible bell ding. Fell in love with your heart, but now I see. Like there is a rhyme and meter to that because it's a song. It's my song "Make Believe" by Glass Roads. Like I don't think I've recorded it for. What happened is my audio got messed up. No, it didn't. No, I just messed up on the drums. So, but with this, like this is the Old Testament. How is a translation of Hebrew rhyming, but then the Hebrew doesn't rhyme? Go listen to Psalm 23. Go listen to Psalm 145. You might like the way it sounds, but it's not rhyming because polo on kai megalo on emendia tu nomo kai tu propheton kai ton olo on ton kat atus ekelule kat on katon de domenon onoron dion estin. I can't read it at some point because it's not very good on my screen, but like it's got meter and rhyme to it. It's deleted from the Bible. It's in Codex Alexandrinus, but they've changed the word ikra because they don't want me to see gegraptai connected to ikra because of kara connected to ikra, because I'll see it. And then I'll know anytime there's a gamma, I can change it to a cough, which is that freaking critical. I have talked about poimenes and all the variations of shepherd and pastor and how like in English, like you wouldn't shepherd someone, like somehow like there were all these words related to poimenes. It just didn't make sense. And so I'm reading Jeremias, and I was having a little trouble because it feels like it's talking about slavery. And I was looking at Onoma, but that's my name over there. And like I was looking at a lot of these what it's saying there, and it got down here where it said kai idate a poesa ato apo prosopo kakis lau mu Israel, and like I like what I kind of concluded is that it was talking about like their leaders, or they led, or what was I? That was a long time ago that I was looking at that, and then I got down here and I was like on kai nun on poesate panta ta era, because now we know the cough, right? Because of Ikra. So, Hera's name is Erga Tata. Well, not Tata, but it'd be Hera. So, what was I going to talk about? Because there was something I noticed. Okay, so they're saying that poeo is to make do, and that's a good way to deal with a verb that you don't want to deal with, which I think it's to lead, because poimenes turned out to be a leader, because they're leaders. Because what is do in Greek, or to act, is praxis or prasos, or like they're like. It's always like pretty close to praxis. So, because like that's a book of the Bible. So, I'm pretty sure that it's talking about like, I don't even want to deal with it. Hera's in there, dude.